Chronic Diseases by Hahnemann. We are reading preface to the 4th volume. Unassisted, the vital force is no match to these hostile powers. It hardly opposes a force equal to the hostile operation, and this indeed with many signs of its own sufferings, which we call morbid symptoms. By its own power, our vital force would never be able to overcome the foe of chronic disease, nor even to conquer transient diseases without considerable losses inflicted on some parts of the organism if it remained without external aid, without the assistance of the genuine remedies. To give such support is the duty enjoined on the physician's understanding by the preserver of life. As I have said above, our vital force hardly opposes an equal opposition to the foe causing the disease, and yet no enemy can be overcome except by a superior force. Only homeopathic medicine can give this superior power to the invalidated vital force. Invalidated vital force. Of itself, this vital principle, being only an organic vital force intended to preserve an undisturbed health, opposes only a weak resistance to the invading morbific enemy. As the disease grows and increases, it opposes a greater resistance, but at best it is only an equal resistance. With weakly patients, it is not even equal but weaker. This force is neither capable nor destined nor created for an overpowering resistance which will do no harm to itself. But if we physicians are able to present and oppose to this instinctive vital force its morbific agency, as it were magnified through the action of homeopathic medicines, even if it should be enlarged every time only by only by medicine. If in this way the image of the morbific foe be magnified to the apprehension of the vital principle through homeopathic medicines, which in a delusive manner simulate the original disease, we gradually cause and compel this instinctive vital force to increase its energies by degrees, and to increase them more and more, and at last to such a degree that it becomes far more powerful than the original disease. The consequence of this is that the vital force again becomes sovereign in its domain, can again hold and direct the reins of sanitary progress, which while the apparent increase of the disease caused by homeopathic medicines disappears of itself as soon as we, seeing the preponderance of the restored vital force, that is of the restored health, cease to use these remedies. The fund or the fundamental essence of this spiritual vital principle imparted to us men by the infinitely merciful Creator is incredibly great if we physicians understand how to maintain its integrity in days of health by directing men to a healthy mode of living, and how to invoke and augment in its diseases by purely homeopathic treatment. Refers to 5th volume of the Chronic Diseases of Hahnemann. Dilutions and potencies, dynamization. Dilutions, properly so called, exist almost solely in objects of taste and of color. A solution of salty and bitter substances becomes occasionally more deprived of its taste the more water is added, and eventually It has hardly any taste, no matter how much it may be shaken. So also a solution of coloring matter by the admixture of more and more water becomes at last almost colorless, and any amount of shaking will not increase its color. These are and continue to be real attenuations or dilutions, but no dynamization. Homeopathic dynamizations are processes by which the medicinal properties which are latent in the natural substances while in their crude state become aroused and then become enabled to act in an acute, in an almost spiritual manner on our life, that is on our sensible and irritable fiber. కాబట్టి డైల్యూషన్స్ హోమియోపతిలో డైల్యూషన్ మీద బేస్ అయింది కదా అని కొంతమంది వాదిస్తుంటారు. డైల్యూషన్ ఒకటే కాదు, డైల్యూషన్ అండ్ డైనమైజేషన్. అది ఎవడన్నా వాదిస్తే చెప్పాలి. డైనమైజేషన్ అంటే దాంట్లో ఉన్నటువంటి హిడెన్గా ఉన్నటువంటి ప్రాపర్టీస్ అన్నింటినీ బయటికి లాగడం, క్యూరేటివ్ ప్రాపర్టీస్. దిస్ డెవలప్మెంట్ ఆఫ్ ది పొటెన్సీస్ ఆఫ్ క్రూడ్ న్యాచురల్ సబ్స్టెన్సెస్ డైనమైజేషన్ టేక్స్ ప్లేస్, as I have before taught, in the case of dry substances by means of trituration in a mortar, but in the case of fluid substances by means of shaking or succussion, which is also a trituration. These preparations cannot be simply designated as dilutions, although every preparation of this kind, in order that it may be raised to a higher potency, that is, in order that the medicinal properties still latent within it may be yet further awakened and developed, must first undergo a further attenuation, in order that the trituration or succussion may enter still further into very essence of the medicinal substance, and may thus also liberate and expose the more subtle part of the medicinal powers that lie hidden more deeply, which could not be affected by any movement of trituration, any amount of trituration and succussion of the substances in their concentrated form. We frequently read in homeopathic books that in the case of one or another person in a certain case of disease, some high dilution dynamization of a medicine was of no use at all, but a lower potency proved effectual. But others have seen more success from higher potency. But no one in such cases investigates the cause of the great difference of these effects. Great difference of these effects. Difference ఏమవుతుంది, ఇండిఫరెన్స్ ఎలా అవుతుంది? ఇన్నోటే తేడా. ఆ ఇన్ని లోపలికి రానిస్తే ఇండిఫరెన్స్, దాన్ని అవుట్ సైడ్ ఉంచితే డిఫరెన్స్. నెక్స్ట్ గారు డ్రామా రాశారులే, స్వయంవరం అని డ్రామా రాసినప్పుడు దాంట్లో వాడు అంటాడు, దీనికి దానికి మధ్య పెద్ద డిఫికల్ట్ ఏముందిరా, డిఫరెన్స్ ఏముందండి నాకు, డిఫరెన్స్కి డిఫికల్ట్ అంటాడు. వాడేదో చెబుతాడు, వీడేదో చెబుతాడు, మీరు కోపం వచ్చి దీనికి దానికే మధ్య పెద్ద డిఫికల్ట్ లేదురా అంటాడు, అంటే డిఫరెన్స్ లేదురా అని చెప్పడానికి. అండర్స్టాండింగ్ బాగుండాలిరా అంటాడు, అండర్స్టాండింగే కదరా అప్పర్ స్టాండింగ్ కూడా ఉండాలంటాడు వీడు. What prevents the preparer of the medicines, and this ought to be homeopathic physician himself. He himself ought to forge and wet the arms with which to fight the diseases. What prevents him in preparing a potency from giving 10, 20, 50 and more successive strokes against a somewhat hard elastic body to every vial containing 1 drop of the lower potency with 99 drops of alcohol, so as to obtain strong potencies? This would be vastly more effective than giving only a few nerveless successive strokes, which will produce little more than dilutions, which ought not to be the case. Okay, simple ga ఇచ్చే స్ట్రోక్స్ లాభం లేదు గట్టిగా ఇవ్వాలి. The perfection of our unique art of healing and the welfare of the patients seem to make it worthwhile for the physician to take the trouble necessary to secure the utmost efficiency in his medicine. Modern wiseacres have even sneered at the 30th potency and would only use the lower, less developed and more massive preparations in larger doses, whereby they have been, however, unable to effect all that our art can accomplish. 30 potency kuda ekkuve ani cheppi inka takkuve cheyadam. If, however, every potency is dynamized with the same number of successive strokes, we obtain even in the 50th potency medicines of the most penetrating efficacy, so that every minute pellet moistened with it after being dissolved in a quantity of water can and must be taken in small parts if we do not wish to produce too violent an action with sensitive patients, while we must remember that such a preparation contains almost all the properties latent in the drug, now fully developed, and these can only then come into full activity. Paris, December 19th, 1838.